Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Julene with JovesStar Astrology, talking to you today about the new moon in Gemini coming through tomorrow on June 6th, very early in the morning. And we'll take a look at the chart as usual, show you all of the aspects, break down what this new moon theme is for all of us at the beginning of a cycle here. When I show you the chart, you'll see that all I gotta say is holy Gemini Batman, right? Gemini season has come in with a huge bang, and there's lots of Gemini in this chart. So we'll break it down and take a look. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but is your mind on fire? Are you taking in lots of information? Are you learning something new? What is going on? Gemini is about variety. It's a mutable air sign. It rules the third house in the zodiac. So it is about communication, learning, information. It's about movement. And is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury moves fast. So one thing for sure is information is going to be coming in fast. We may be physically moving much faster. And there's change, right? There's change in the air, mutable air signs. So we are going to be asked to be super adaptable and flexible and just sort of soak everything in, and kind of be willing to take us a little bit in some ways, in the direction that the wind blows. We'll see. It should be pretty interesting time. It's actually a really awesome new moon. There's a lot of things that are available to us to sort of jumpstart things and get things moving. And, we have a little bit of help, in case things get a little bit overwhelming, because that can happen with Gemini anyway. We just sort of get inundated with information, tasks, stuff, things to do, just wanting to get things going and move quickly. But even though Gemini is all about the details, it's a logical sign, right? It's all about breaking down the details into, little pieces so that we can understand, all the moving parts and then connect the dots. I mean, sometimes, especially with all of this Gemini energy, it can be overwhelming, right? Which can be like mind on fire, right? Open to anything and everything is probably the best way to handle it. But, maybe sort of sitting on some things, because what can happen with all of that activity is, we can miss things, right? Or we can connect a dot incorrectly, or, there can be a mishap or a misunderstanding, right? With Mercury. I mean, Mercury's not retrograde, but it's just a lot of information that is coming in. So I'm going to pull the chart up and we can talk about what all of this means together. In the chart. So here we go. As you can see, uh, we have, and as you can see too, I'm not using my streaming software again. It is still not syncing up. Audio, video, still not syncing up. So the communication there with my technology is just not, it's not working for me, right? Can't seem to figure it out. So I'll just keep working on it. And hopefully the technical stuff will come to me here, with the help that I have with Pluto, right? In the sign of Aquarius. I'll talk about how that's aspecting this new moon. Of course, we'll look at the Sabian symbol and break that down as well. All right, so look at all of this Gemini energy. It's like I said, holy Gemini uh season. It is just on fire. There is a lot going on here. And although I have this chart set as an Aries rising, just the traditional order of the zodiac, if you'll notice that this chart is also a Gemini ascendant. So this chart is ruled by Mercury. So very fast moving, very changeable, a lot of stuff going on. All right, so here we have this new moon right here at 16 degrees of Gemini, and it is blowing in tomorrow on June the 6th here in my area at 5:37 a.m. So it's an early morning new moon. Uh, and if you're on the East Coast, that will be 8:37 in the morning. So, your morning commute might be a little interesting tomorrow. I would definitely pay attention on the road, especially, when we're talking about all of this Gemini energy, because Mercury rules transportation too. So, anyway, new moon in Gemini, look at this caveat here with this new moon. You see, we just had a Venus cazimi where Venus came into conjunction exactly with the sun, where she is reborn, right before she shows herself as a morning star. So we have a brand new Venus cycle um, here, and Venus is still sitting in a cazimi with this new moon. So very, very auspicious new moon that is fired up with Venus in Gemini. So it makes it extra sweet and special. So let's, this we need to really ride this wave here, and be flexible for with whatever's coming at us, because Venus is in a new beginning phase, and the new moon is a new beginning of a cycle. So this is an awesome new moon. Now, Venus here, we'll talk about her first conjunct a new moon, brand new cycle, is ruling the South Node in Libra, another air sign, right? A cardinal air sign. So there's some kind of action here. And we know the South Node represents the past, or what we are already familiar with. The skills and the experience that we are bringing into our lives right now. So something we've experienced from the past. So when we're talking about Gemini and information and the mind, we could be having like some deja vu experiences here. We could get a little bit of a clue as to, what we're processing from the past. And using to move into the future. So this new moon and Venus, the ruler of the South Node, is sextile. So there is a very easy flow of energy from the South Node into this new moon cycle, and is sextiling, which is another harmonious aspect of the nature of Venus. Sextiling the North Node in Aries, where we're all being asked to grow, experience something new, take care of ourselves, go after what it is that we want, take some kind of action, a brave, bold, new kind of action on behalf of ourselves. So this new moon and all of the Gemini energy that comes with it is working with the nodes in a very powerful way. So pay attention, if there are themes or coming up from the past for you, maybe where relationships are concerned, because that's Libra, communication regarding relationships in some way, something potentially, like I said, linked to the past that's going to help us hopefully move into the future. That's the first thing. So very powerful when we have aspects to the nodes of the moon. These are very fated types of cycles. And so this cycle and what it will bring to us is something that is fated to occur to actually help and assist us into moving from the past into the future. So very nice there. Now, obviously, we always look at the ruler of the new moon, and right there we have Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, also in Gemini. So very dignified at home in Gemini, a very strong Mercury to help to rule this new moon conjunct Venus. Very nice. Mercury is currently conjunct Jupiter that has just recently moved into the sign of Gemini. Now, Jupiter rules Pisces, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So because Jupiter is currently in the opposite sign of its home, where it's most comfortable, they say that Jupiter is in detriment here, right? That it doesn't operate as well as it could or should. I don't know about that. I mean, when we look at the dignities, which are really important, especially in reading some types of astrology, you know, the words that are used sometimes, I mean, it sounds like they're negative connotations, right? I don't see, any planet in any sign can adapt. It's just a matter of understanding that they're going to operate differently. So Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, and Jupiter, and let's just talk about Sag, right? Sag is about the bigger picture, right? It's about experience. It's about a knowing and a wisdom, and just sort of like the broader philosophy and perspective, the higher mind, right? Higher type of learning. And then you have Gemini, which is the lower mind, they say, but it's really where Gemini, breaks the pieces apart. So Gemini gathers information, right? We can look at it this way. Gemini collects and gathers information to break it apart and put it in order, right? Well, actually, Virgo orders it, but Gemini just gathers it. It's just like constant gathering of information. Um, and so when you have Jupiter there operating in the sign of Gemini, which makes things bigger, right? And it's conjunct Mercury, the mind, this can be racing thoughts. This can be overwhelm uh, within the mind or your movements in some way. So it can make what's going on with Mercury and Gemini very, very big, very, very fast, and it can be overwhelming. But what's good about it is, and the fact that it's conjunct, and I will tell you, I have a Mercury Jupiter conjunction in Gemini in my chart, so I know a little bit about this. It does require being strategic. It does require learning how to take in all of the information and sort it out and then figure out how it all connects to the whole. So Jupiter can kind of act as a sort of a bridge, right, to bring the information into a higher form, or bring a network of some kind of information together, right? And it does it very quickly once it's practiced, right? You do have to practice it. And like for me, being born with this conjunction in my birth chart, I can remember when I was young, things were very, very overwhelming. Mercury, I could read very fast. I could talk very fast. But a lot of times I could read half a book. And if my mind was going elsewhere, I couldn't remember uh, the story, right? I couldn't read it back. So I learned that I had to connect that Jupiter function and that Mercury function so that I could get a better understanding of the whole. And a lot of times that means slowing down, taking notes, and then going back and connecting things, right? And definitely being able to ask for help, which isn't always easy to do for Mercury or for Jupiter, Mercury Jupiter conjunction, right? I mean, we love Sagittarius, but we know that a true Sagittarius, Jupiter ruled, um, goes out and finds the answers to themselves, and then they're pretty sure that they're right, right? So they don't always ask for help. They're usually the folks we go to when we need help. So sometimes when you have the Mercury Jupiter conjunction, you do have to learn to ask for help. But then once you've comprehended and connected all of the information in the dots, then you can actually put that information or put that skill back out into the world. And it's brilliant, right? It's brilliant beyond what most people can do. So this is a time where we can actually bring things together and create very, very big results from all of that. But it's going to take a little bit of slowing down. Now, the good news is that, let me get rid of some of these lines here, is that we have Saturn. Like Saturn is making a square to, let me get rid of all of this except for this right here. Saturn in the sign of Pisces is making almost an exact square to the moon, Venus, the new moon and Venus conjunction in the sign of Gemini. So the ruler Mercury conjunct Jupiter, things coming in fast, things coming in quickly, needing to slow down, having a hard time. Gemini has a hard time slowing down. Sometimes it trips over everything and realizes, oops, I should have slowed down, right? Something goes sideways, right? But Saturn is here. Saturn is here to help us do that. Yeah, a square can cause tension, and sort of make us feel like we're being slowed down in a lot of ways, especially in the sign of Pisces. But this is good. With all of this Gemini, the Saturn square is helping us prioritize, helping us manage all of the changes and the new things coming in with all this Gemini energy. So, and we may feel, it may feel a little frustrating, but if you understand what it's designed to do, which is to give you an opportunity to make really good use of this cycle and all of this Gemini energy, then you can sit with those delays or those frustrations a little bit easier, maybe. Now, I have a Saturn in Pisces square my Sun in Gemini and my Jupiter Mercury conjunction in Gemini. So I live with this every day, where I have to make choices, right? And it has to be, I've learned that if I'm not making a choice for the right reason, or if what it is that I'm trying to do isn't fulfilling some kind of higher purpose, that emotionally I feel dragged down, right? That Saturn and Pisces will just pull me right out of it. It's like it just doesn't feel right. And my body and my mind doesn't always sync up with what is going on, just around me. It's a very interesting type of thing, but I really believe that it has served me well in tempering my Gemini energy and allowing me the time that I've needed over the course of my life to learn how to work with that Gemini positively. And that's really important when you have all of this Gemini and all of this movement and mutability and all of these new things happening at your disposal. What you don't want is to not be following a rule or some kind of structure, because Saturn, the parent, the teacher, can hand down some difficult, difficult lessons to us. So Saturn is helpful in this case, the Saturn square. Most of the time, squares, I can't honestly say that they're, positive and or feel good. And this one may not feel good to some of us, depending on where you're at and, the goals that you're trying to accomplish or the information you're trying to gather. But in this case, Saturn has our best interest at heart. So just know if things feel delayed or if we feel schooled in any way or feel like there's a finger shaking at us from somewhere, that there's a reason for that. We have to back up, slow down, and give it some time, right? Even if it's confusing, Pisces, even if we don't really understand why, that we seem to be at odds with somebody or just ourselves or, what's going on in our lives. There's a reason for it, and time will pass and structure will be put in place and the goal will be reached. Just going to take some patience. Okay, that is a really good square for this particular type of concentrated Gemini energy. So positive in my opinion. We also have Pluto, the planet of transformation and change. The planet that uncovers things, rolls through and really digs things up from the depths, right? In the sign of Aquarius, retrograde, yes, moving back into Capricorn, but it's in Aquarius. And so we are experiencing change when it comes to in the collective, like how we fit into the collective. And also with technology. Uh, Aquarius ruled by Saturn and Uranus. I follow modern astrology, and I believe that there are several signs that have two rulers, and so uh, Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, ruled by Uranus. Things could be, we could find ourselves in very unexpected, different places, but hopefully there are places that are bringing us into the future. There are lessons or things being cleared out or brought to the surface that we need to experience change, some kind of death and a rebirth of some sort, so that we can move forward into a different and new future, right? Could be an update of some sort. Like I said, this is, Aquarius is very much about technology, as well as other things. But Pluto, very powerful, trining Jupiter and Mercury, trining the conjunction. And this is helping us bring those concepts um, and all of the information and the ability to see the bigger picture and create all of the new uh, maps and plans and data and the bigger pictures, and so just sort of put all of that in order, right? Put a plan in order. Pluto is helping us do that. There is power there. Trine nature of Jupiter flowing very nicely to the Mercury Jupiter conjunction. That's going to make it easier for us when it comes to movement and communication and learning something new. Great time to learn something new. Pluto is going to, help Aquarius, right? It is a fixed air sign, very intellectual, right? Um, Big concepts. Pluto is trining Mercury, the planet of learning and communication in the mind, and Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, experience, and higher learning. Very powerful trine here working along with this new moon. So overall, this is a really, really nice new moon, infused with a lot of sweetness, a lot of new things, and a lot of potential here for this cycle, right? But again, we're just buckle in, right? Be adaptable, take everything in. If you're unsure of direction that you're going, or you're not understanding something, slow down. Saturn is there to help slow us down. And likely because it's playing into this new moon, it'll just sort of happen organically, right? Pisces is the planet of, what we sense and feel, the sign rather, we sense and feel and can't see. So we're under some kind of like spiritual order, right? We're in the school of spiritual things. There's a connection there, an energetic sort of stop stick or teacher, kind of like maybe something that we can't see, right? That may be holding us back or getting us to sort of move a little slower. you know uh Saturn and Pisces hasn't been easy for a lot of us, because it is something that creates uncertainty, difficulty sometimes, but uncertainty, a lot of unknowing. And sometimes, we obviously fear the unknown, right? We don't really understand a lot of times within the process, based on how we're feeling, what the overall, you know, uh, goal is or the end game is. But anyway, Saturn is there to help us here in this particular case. So I'm loving it. All right, let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for this new moon. And you can see there, the new moon conjunct Venus. Very, very nice. I'll say it again. Variety, variety. Before we get into the Sabian symbol, yes. Very, very nice, lucky new moon for Gemini sun, Gemini rising. It's going to conjunct, especially if you're Gemini rising, like this is a lot of change for you in how your identity could be in your body, how you're showing up in the world. Lots of things changing and moving. A very positive new beginning for Gemini rising. For Sagittarius, another mutable sign, we're going to get the opposition. So it's a polarity, so the houses work together. If you're a Sagittarius rising or Sagittarius sun, it's likely other people, especially if you're Sag rising, there's just a lot going on with other people, and the other people are stimulating your environment, and you're having to respond to that in some way and participate because you, Sag, Jupiter, you're over here. So you're part of all of this movement and all of this newness. I think whether you want to be or not, right? Your chart ruler's there. So very important for Sag and Gemini. Also for Pisces, you'll be experiencing the square. So there's going to be a little bit of tension there. All of this Gemini activity for Pisces people who like things to be peaceful and easy. It's a little difficult for Pisces, but hey, Pisces, Saturn's been in your sign for the longest time. Neptune is just coming out of your sign. So you're going to probably feel a little bit of a push to move and take some kind of action, get involved in, just with other people and, more conversation and things like that. It'd be a little uncomfortable for Pisces. They kind of like to do their own thing. But yeah, so for Pisces, the square can be difficult. For Virgo, there's a square there too. And Virgo, Virgo's ruled by Mercury too, but Virgo likes to take things a little slower, right? It likes to know. Virgo's ordering the information, right? Gemini's bringing it all in, and then Virgo has to put it in order. And Virgo's very picky about how it does that. I's dotted, T's crossed, and it can be a little hesitant, a little critical about how all of that's coming in. And so, it could be a little bit, cause a little bit of anxiety maybe for Virgo, and a little bit of stutter start. Now, I got to tell you, I have Pisces placements, I have the Saturn, I have a lot in Gemini, and I also have a stellium in Virgo. So this is the story of my life, right? Options, ideas, plans, putting things together. Yep, but there's hesitation. Oh, it's got to be perfect, Virgo. And there's got to be a plan. It's got to be for right reasons. Saturn and Pisces. So I get this, right? It can be a little difficult, but I always say, with all of this for me anyway, it's like after learning how to work with it, it can be a lot of stress and a lot of, mental preparation and just making sure things are just right. And what am I going to sacrifice? That's another thing with Pisces. It's like, and Saturn, it's like there has to be a sacrifice for something that is coming in many cases, like you can feel like you're having to sacrifice everything. Why? Because with Gemini, there's so much, and Pisces can only do so much. So, like I said, with Pisces, it might be a little bit difficult, with, what all of the things that might be going on in the Gemini area of a Pisces chart. But, Saturn obviously reminds us of responsibilities and order. And so, yeah, we might have it might have to be, we take some things, we do what we can handle, and then we set other things aside for later, or we just decide that, after we've prioritized certain things are more important than other things. And You'll see how that shakes out for you. But the mutable signs, very affected by this. I had mentioned Libra is going to have a trine, so Libra rising, Libra suns. They're going to have a nice harmonious flow of all of this new moon sweetness to their signs, and Aries is going to benefit with a sextile, although Aries is going to have to slow itself down long enough to listen. And have a conversation because Aries is so busy and very, very busy lately, but this is positive for Aries. So nice experience for Aries, and of course Aquarius folks, experiencing a trine to all of this Gemini, and Aquarius right now has Pluto in its sign, so experiencing a lot of deep-seated change. And this Gemini, listen, if you're Aquarius, I think that you would benefit from slowing down, like talking things out. Things are just moving very quickly. I mean, there could be a lot of anxiety with all of the change that's going on for Aquarius anyway. And then this is just going to add more busyness. But maybe it'll bring people in to work through things with you and help you. Talking it out is probably going to be, a good thing for Aquarius people. And those things and people and options and, are going to be at your disposal. It looks like it's going to be pretty positive. The other thing with Gemini too, all this Gemini energy is it's going to be likely going to be in terms of new things and information and who you're talking to and networking with, and there are going to be options. Gemini is multiples, it's more than one thing. So not only is Gemini moving quickly and you know, we have all of this newness here, but it's probably going to come along with more than one thing, right? We'll be very, very, very busy, and there'll have to be choices that we make on what we grab onto and what we set aside. So very, very positive. Sextile to Leo here, which is nice. Leo will be able to benefit from all of this Gemini energy. Yeah, if you're a Cancer, obviously you're ruled by the moons. You always feel new moons, full moons, right? Lots of ups and downs. Our lovely Cancer people are really charged with riding the waves of emotion and change all the time, constantly. So they will definitely feel this. And then we have Scorpio here, which is in conjunct to all of this Gemini. And so, an inconjunct can be sometimes it's energy that it doesn't understand, it doesn't coordinate well with one another. So sometimes it means, if I choose this, then I have to sacrifice this, or if I choose this, then I have to sacrifice the other thing. So they don't see each other, they don't have a lot in common. So you have to really work hard to sort of identify what it is that you have to reconcile here. There's a bit of reconciliation that needs to be done. And then of course, Taurus here, you've got a player, right? Your chart ruler is conjunct this new moon. So like everybody is getting hit, and it's mostly positive. I think that the fixed signs, aside from the trine here, might have the most difficult or confusing time with this new moon. But overall, we got a lot going on. Now, on a mundane level, this Gemini wind air represents weather. We've got Jupiter there. Yeah, this could be weather events, big weather events, lots of wind and things like that. I mean, we've already had enough weather events. But out there in the collective, where it's probably just going to be people speaking out, lots of voices, lots of newness, lots of technology, lots of things going on online, right? When I think about Gemini, I think about like quick things like TikToks, right? Or Instagrams, just a lot of quick messages and statements and things like that. This new moon is great for writing and speaking, networking and connecting with other people. Venus is there, so it's good for bringing in new people, when it comes to love and business and things like that. So all of those things can happen during this new moon. So very positive. All right, let's get to the Sabian symbol. I am going to take the chart down here. Okay. All right, Sabian symbol we have here, we round up. So the new moon is at 16 degrees of Gemini. Now, interesting, my son, he's a Gemini rising, and his rising is exactly 16 degrees. Mine is a few degrees off. This new moon is happening right between my sun, North Node, conjunction, and my rising sign. So I'm like, what's happening? But this is conjunct my son's rising sign. So I'm really hoping for something positive and new and sweet for him. Anyway, 16 degrees Gemini, we're rounding up to 17. Sabian symbol book says the head of health dissolved into the head of mentality. Keyword development. The theme is maturation. The symbol speaks to the process of maturation or growth from youthful self-involvement to the development of a social conscience. This very much sounds to me like Mercury conjunct Jupiter, right? Because Mercury is youthful, Gemini is youthful, the lower mind, so they say. And like I explained, Jupiter is the higher mind, rules Sag, rules Pisces. So it's a little bit of wisdom, and of course Jupiter represents growth. So interesting. The image of the head of health dissolved into the head of mentality suggests spiritual growth, self-awareness, and the ability to see the world through the eyes of others. That's very, very Pisces. I love that. This degree also implies that physical and mental well-being are the result of a well-rounded and very practical grounding in the everyday world of fact. And Gemini is very much about facts, data and facts, very logical. Positive at its highest, this symbol represents self-integration, broad vision, and wisdom. And negative, Peter Pan syndrome, or an obsession with youthfulness and a simple refusal to grow up. So that's 17 Gemini. I do think having Jupiter there is going to bring that higher philosophy. It's going to bring wisdom and obviously luck, right? But conjunct Mercury, I think this is sweet. So things to watch out for. But again, it's like we have a little bit of help, and Saturn is there, right? Saturn is the grown-up and the teacher, and the one that reminds us of our responsibilities. So that square, still very positive, even to me, with the configuration of this new moon, because of Saturn, and because of Jupiter being conjunct Mercury. All right. Today, the accent is on maturity and expansion of consciousness. It's time to put selfish concerns aside and focus on the welfare of the whole. And that's a lot of what Saturn in Pisces is wanting us to do, is focus on the whole. What can we do to impact the whole of everything? And Jupiter is the whole, right? The bigger picture. Your greatest advantage lies in looking to the future and to what you can expect to experience if you continue in your present direction or course of action. So thinking beyond, bringing those concepts together and making a plan, a long-term plan. And Jupiter has moved into Gemini recently, and we've got a cycle that is beginning, a Jupiter cycle. And we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction just before that in Taurus, which was seeding a cycle of change, right? Jupiter-Uranus, change, material change, right? And then Jupiter's now moved into Gemini, where we start to see those options coming in, and we start to see some kind of movement. And so this might be a time where we are starting to gain some of the tools or connect with people, or if the things start to come in that we need, that can help us grow, right? Begin to grow within this new Jupiter cycle in Gemini. Guard against relying on others to take care of your needs or handle your responsibilities. Don't get caught unprepared. Stepping stones would be maturation, adulthood, development, growth, evolution, completeness, wholeness, well-roundedness, self-integration, well-being, and wisdom. So there you have it. All wrapped up in this new moon. What do you think? How are you feeling? I have all of my Gemini in the 12th house. So I got to tell you, for a little while now, especially when Jupiter went into Gemini, it's like, if I feel like I'm actually working things out consciously in some weird ways in my dreams. Like it's almost like I'm doing math equations and, writing, diagrams and plotting things out somehow in my dreams in my mind. It's sort of like that space between between sleep and awake, but it's almost like there's consciousness there in some ways. So felt really tired because of that lately. So I'm hoping as this new moon gets started and the Venus there is conjunct that I'll be able to rest a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Saturn will come in with that square. I think that's what's happening. It's like, at the end of the day, I get so tired. It's like, okay, so you've moved around a lot and your mind has gone super, super fast. So now it's time to slow down. Yeah, just very, very fast for me. Behind the scenes. Yeah, just wondering what's gonna happen here. What am I embarking on? I mean, I know like some things that I'm doing and trying to get started, but I'm feeling, and if I look at the past cycles for myself, it's like something's coming. I'm not exactly um, envisioning it the way that it will likely show up. So, you guys let me know how all of this is shaking out for you, how you're feeling, what's new for you. Have you had anything sweet and new show up, or multiple things show up for you lately? Are you excited about this new cycle? Is it too overwhelming for you? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear about it. And I'm wishing you all well. Have a great rest of June and new moon cycle. Make the most of this new moon because it's pretty sweet. So I will talk to you soon. Until then, may the stars forever be in your favor. Bye for now.